Hello YouTube, how the devil are you? My name's Nadine. I have once again been dragged out of my pit of iniquity. No, that's like sleaze or something, isn't it? My pit of, not despair, my pit of randomness, really, because it is that most wonderful time of the year. Once again, it is Victober. And there's some really good challenges again this year, and I really wanted to take part. So I've had lots of fun the last few days scouring my shelves because I was determined this year I'm not going to buy any books for it. I have a billion books already that I buy, I'm desperate to read, and then I forget about because I'm buying others. And I really wanted to fill the challenges with those books, and I've done really well with that. I've bought one, but it was a Kindle cheapy kind of thing, so I'm fine with that, that's good. My TBR pile is huge. Let me show you. Now, I'm not getting through all of these in October. I have no plans of getting through all of them in October, but I do like a choice. I will be happy if I read a few of them, to be honest. Because as well, like, October is my favourite month of the year, not just because of Victober, although that is a pretty big reason these last few years, but also just because I love the weather. I love the change in the season that you get in October, you know, where the air goes a bit crisper and there's lots of nice walks. It's still sunny, but it's got that sort of edge to it. So I'm planning on going on lots and lots of walks because we live a little bit more out in the country now. And also it's Halloween season. I'm a huge horror fan, so I'm going to be watching a lot of horror films, and yeah, just stuff like that really. Probably a bit of gaming too. So and also there's lots of other books that I want to read that are like a bit more spooky to fit in with the season. Sorry, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. So anyway, enough waffle. The books. So first off, the group read I'm going to take part in is to read two plays by Oscar Wilde. Oh gosh, what are they? The Importance of Being Earnest was one of them, and the other one was something else with importance. What's the Importance of Being Earnest? A Woman of No Importance. I've not read either of these before. The only Oscar Wilde that I've read has been Portrait of Dorian Gray, which was years ago, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm happy to be able to drag this off my shelves because, disgustingly, I've owned this for about 15 years, and yeah, I've read Dorian Gray, but it wasn't even out of this. I read a different edition, so yeah, quite happy to actually be making some use of something on my shelves. Looking forward to that one. So the first challenge was to read a book that was published the same year as your Victorian classic favourite. I think a lot of us found this quite difficult when I've been watching other people's TBRs. I think, yeah, quite a few of us struggled with this one. I was no exception there. So first off, my struggle was, what's my favourite? I'm not one of these people that does have favourite books. I have ones that I return to again and again. So I had to think about that quite a bit, and I went for Wuthering Heights. I chose this because it's probably the classic that I have read the most often through pleasure and study, and it's the one that I have had a lot of changing like a change in relationship to over the years, and that's really made me appreciate how rereading is quite beneficial. It shows you how you've grown as a person in the times that you've read the story. You get different things out of them at different times. So yeah, Wuthering Heights. I've had conflicting relationship with this book over the years, mainly due to the way my feelings towards the characters have changed, and because let's face it, they're actually really quite detestable characters, But one thing that's never changed is how much I love the writing. So I did some research on books that came out in 1874, and there wasn't much that really took my fancy, and the ones that did, I was struggling to find copies of. So I was kind of going to go along with the channel I discovered, Tom Reads Things. He chose a book that was 1874 as well, and he was going to read Bronte's poems. And so I was thinking, I might go along with that. But then in another book that I'm reading was mentioned, it's set around Bram Stoker, and so it's set in Victorian London, Varney the Vampire. And so I googled that, and Varney the Vampire was a Penny Dreadful series that ran from 1875 to, from 1870, it ran from 1845 to 1847. I'm doubting that I've been saying 1847 all this time now. 1847. And it was published as a book in 1874. Oh my gosh, when was it? 1874. I'm not starting this video again just for that. 1874 it was published. Get it together, Nadine. And so that is the book that I bought anyway, and then I'll shut up. Varney the Vampire, Penny Dreadful series. It's huge. It's about 202 chapters, so I reckon that's probably going to take me all the way through October on my Kindle. I don't know anything about it. From reviews I've read it's quite slow in places, but to be fair, Victorian literature compared to, the constant barrage of things going on in books today, Victorian literature is quite slow, but that's one of the things that I like about it. So I'm looking forward to reading that. The next challenge was to do with length. So read a book either under 250 pages or over 500 pages. Because I don't know what I'm going for yet. I've picked one of each. And I have gone for under 250 pages, H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. Lots of people were reading this last year for Victober, and I was quite jealous because I never thought of it, and then I discovered it in a charity shop at some point over the year, picked it up expressly for this purpose, so I've got that one. And then just because Elizabeth Gaskell is wonderful and I haven't read this one, for over 500 pages I've got North and South. I don't really know what it's about. North and South depicts a young woman discovering herself, and it'll be set in town. It'll be town life, I imagine. It generally is. Not to downplay it, but that's, again, it's one of the things that I love about this sort of fiction. And then next is to reread a Victorian novel. Excuse me. Sorry, throat's a bit sore. Again, I've chosen two. So, because I've been thinking so much about favourites and Wuthering Heights, I've chose the 1874 Wuthering Heights, just because it's been a few years. The last time was for my degree, and that was probably about 4 or 5 years ago that I read it then. And I've been thinking about picking it up again for a while, but I've been kind of putting it off because I want to go to Pondon Hall, which is supposedly one of the bedrooms there is the basis for Cathy's room. And so it's on my bucket list is I want to go to Pondon Hall and read Wuthering Heights whilst in Cathy's room. So I've got that one. I'm not going to Pondon Hall this month though, sadly. Or Dracula, because this was a book that I bought for Victober last year and I didn't get to, and I was quite sad about that. So yeah, took that one out again. And next is to read a book by a female author, bonus if it's an author that's new to you. So this is a book that I have tried to read before, and for some reason I got distracted with other things and put it to one side, and I really don't remember anything about it. And it's such a huge classic and one that people seem to love and that I've wanted to read for years. So, George Eliot's Middlemarch. This is set, I think, around the 1830s in a small town, Middlemarch, following the lives of different individuals and sort of how their lives are shaped by like events in the community. From what I understand, I could be completely wrong, but from what I understand, that's what it's about. And I'm looking forward to reading this, but it's huge, so I don't know quite if I'll get to it or not, but fingers crossed. And then I've got a few other books that I pulled off the shelf, just because I want to read them. And the first one is Bleak House by Charles Dickens. I bought this lovely set a few months ago, all like this, of his works, and I've yet to pick one up. I've read a few Dickens in the past and enjoyed them, and I've always wanted to read Bleak House. I don't know a lot about it. I think I've just sort of wanted to read it based on the title, because it really does conjure an image, doesn't it? And there was that TV series on the BBC some years ago that I watched 1 or 2 episodes of, and it was seeming interesting. And then I stopped because I wanted to read the book, and then I never read the book. So Bleak House I've put on my Victober pile just because I want to read it, and then hopefully it'll prompt me to actually get to it. And then The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I think this will complete my readings of the Brontes. So yeah, that's it really. I've been wanting to read this one for a while. Again, don't really know what it's about. Lovely cover. Let's see. Oh, it's a passionate tale of marital cruelty. Okay. Oh, that sounds really cool. I'm not going to read it to you. You have to read it yourself. So, yeah, it's looking really good actually. So I will read it to you. I'm not going to be cruel. Okay, so this sensational, hard-hitting and passionate tale of marital cruelty sees a mysterious new tenant at Wildfell Hall, Helen Graham, unmasked not as a wicked woman as the local gossips would have it, but as the estranged wife of a brutal alcoholic bully desperate to protect her son. Using her own experiences with her brother Bramwell to depict the cruelty and debauchery from which Helen flees, Anne Bronte wrote her masterpiece to reflect the fragile position of women in society and her belief in universal redemption. So wow, that sounds amazing. Oh yeah, I think I will definitely put this towards the top of the pile. And then, because I've been putting off reading these until I'd read that one and finished my readings of Bronte's novels, I've got these, Take Courage, Anne Bronte and the Art of Life, which I bought last year when I was getting all excited about Victober. And this, The Brontes by Juliet Barker. And I've had this for about 3 years, so it is about time that I read it. And that is that. I am so excited, so excited about Victober, and I'm loving watching everybody's TBR videos. I'm adding lots and lots of things to my wish list, which is always dangerous because that means that at some point there's going to be a middle of the night shopping spree, and lots of books that I forgot that I bought will be arriving, which isn't that bad really. It's quite fun. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching, and happy reading, whatever you are choosing to read, and hope you're taking part in Victober too. I will catch you later. Bye.